You are now watching Steel Roots Media. What year did you first arrive in London?
So I first arrived in London initially back in 1996, somewhere there, but permanently I came over here in 2000. Can't remember what month, but it was in the year 2000, I believe it was.
What was your first impression of London?
My first impression of London was that it's really grey. It wasn't as sunny, obviously, as a Caribbean. And then I had arrived in the summer as well, so the time kind of threw me off with the long days because the sun doesn't set until like really late at night. So I was up until very late, not realizing it was past my bedtime and it was still bright outside, so that was quite strange for me.
Do you remember what your reaction was to London transport, for example, using underground trains and buses to get around London?
I do, to an extent. It was fascinating for me just being able to jump on the trains and stuff, because back in the Caribbean, as well in Jamaica where I'm from, they didn't really have trains, and we just usually jump into these little minibuses to get from point A to point B, from city to city, and you just cram in loads of people. They don't like stop from bus stop to bus stop on a schedule, so that was quite an interesting and really good experience for me actually on public transport.
What goals did you have for your future in the UK?
I knew I wanted to do my studies, become some kind of media professional, and I started pursuing IT instead of that because I was fascinated by just the internet boom and websites and stuff. So I wanted to be a web designer, and I did become a web designer as a result.
What college or university were you enrolled at, and what were you studying?
So I went to South Bank in Southwest London, College of Southwest London.
Did you hear any stereotypical remarks about Jamaicans from people during the first few years of living in the UK?
Yeah, they all expect you to not speak English. They think that Jamaica is a country that isn't a native English speaking country. So when they hear me speak, they think, oh, but you're not Jamaican. They're just, actually surprised. And you don't have dreadlocks. Which was really strange. I had to educate them that not everyone has dreadlocks and talk patois all the time.
What was your first job?
My first job was in retail. Yeah, I was a checkout supervisor at the time.
Did you experience any personal or financial problems while living in London as a student or while you were working?
Yes, I did, because I was an international student when I first came. I had to pay like 3 times the fees that a home student would pay. And in some cases, a home student wouldn't pay anything for the stuff that I'm paying for. So I had to work my way through and pay for my living costs, my upkeep and all of that kind of thing, plus my tuition fees. So that was kind of a struggle. So I didn't have a lot of money spare to go around, but it was a sacrifice I was willing to make.
What were race relations like when you first arrived in the UK?
I didn't experience any discrimination or anything that I can remember. But I knew that there obviously was a divide in some communities where it was either whites or blacks or whatever. There's people from the history of Britain that were very sensitive to race relations, but like I said, I never really experienced that myself, because I guess the time when I came, things weren't half as bad as they used to be, because now you couldn't just do what you like and call people names and stuff like that on the street anymore. So I guess it's still there with racism and stuff, but it wasn't very obvious. So I didn't really have too much of a bad experience, to be quite honest.
Were you ever homesick while living in the UK?
Yeah, all the time. But the great thing is that I've got family here. I've got my immediate uncle, cousins, and other extended family. And I made friends, but I did go back to Jamaica pretty much every other year, so I was in touch with home and stuff all the time too, so it wasn't too bad for me.
What stories or memories do you have about your positive experiences as a Caribbean in the UK during the 90s and 2000s?
I think there's lots of different things that happened, but at that period I was into music a lot, and I wanted to go out there and do some DJing. So I remember traveling around with my equipment because I had a friend who also DJed, and I was doing these little house parties and raves and stuff. And the fact that I was pretty good at DJing and I knew how to select music, especially in the reggae dancehall aspect of it, because I'm from Jamaica. People were quite fascinated with that, and they, loved the fact that I was able to bring some authenticity to it, and it's not just somebody from here that's trying to do that kind of thing. So that's one good experience from the music aspect of it. And just the fact that I'm different, I'm from a different part of the world, people like that. They like to learn about your culture and things like that. And I like to be able to educate them, you know, and encourage them to say, look, you need to visit and the island and see what people are like there and stuff like that. Because they're stereotypical personas that they have of what you're supposed to be like. And I'm always trying to educate people that, you know what, not everyone's like that. Again, going back to the fact that they thought you should have dreadlocks or chat patois all the time kind of thing.